Hi everyone, welcome to Sam Apata podcast. This is a new series titled My Entrepreneurship Journey. And I've got with me here today Rapelang. He's a good friend. I can call him an associate also, and he's going to be the inaugural guest on this new episode or series of my entrepreneurship journey. Rapelang, thank you very much for joining me on this podcast. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, Sam, and thank you for the invitation. This really looks good. I'm really excited to be here. I can't wait to get into the conversation so that we can really unpack very interesting discussions.
Awesome. You're welcome. Really though, I think being 2020 and considering the global pandemic, honestly, how are you doing?
No, I'm doing great. I'm doing well. I can't really complain. I think 2020 has been a blessing in disguise, and I think also 2020 becomes what we make it to be. Generally, it looks like it's a year where everything is going down and everyone is going down. But if you refuse to go down, you have a choice to not go down if you choose so. So I think I really fought, in this 2020 to ensure that as everything is going down, I don't go down and free fall with everything. So, but it takes a strategy. I always say that 2020 and post-COVID economy will actually be the survival of the innovative. So, and I think that's the direction that I choose.
Awesome. The era of the innovative. We'll get more into that. But before we get into the discussion, the name of your company is the Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Company.
Yeah.
Tell us what the company is about or what you do as a business.
So the Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Company, so we have rebranded into that because the business has evolved. So, and the reason why we call ourselves the Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Company, because we concern ourselves with how do we establish a working entrepreneurial ecosystem for small businesses to thrive. So we are a company that helps small businesses find help. So we're about helping others find help. And the reason why we do that is because we realize a gap that there are all these beautiful, great and nice things in the support system that so many entrepreneurs don't know about, and then we task ourselves with a responsibility of ensuring that how do we create that awareness and ensure that entrepreneurs, they understand what is available for them in the support system, which is very important, because the first thing you want to know when you start a business is that where do I find the things that I need in order for me to start my business. And you will find that there is a support for each and everything that you will ever need and that you will ever think of. It's out there somewhere, but a lot of people don't know about.
So your business assists them to be able to have access to those resources that is required for their business development.
Exactly.
Okay.
However, on top of that, so that you just cut you short there, that above that, we also do a lot of projects with him, because we do enterprise, full-on enterprise and supply development solutions, where we do design and implementation of corporate enterprise development projects.
Yeah.
And then we also do mentoring, coaching for entrepreneurs. So we also do a lot of training stuff. So so we work with corporates, we work with government, and we work with entrepreneurs directly, and we also work with all the stakeholders of enterprise development.
Awesome. So I would have, ask you to introduce yourself and tell us your business journey, how you started, and all of that. But the great thing about this particular series is that it has different formats to it.
Yes.
There's a content that is going to go on YouTube. So what I would advise those that are listening to this podcast is to go to Sam Apata YouTube channel, subscribe to it, and you will be able to hear and watch Rapelang chronologically tell you about his entrepreneurship journey, how it started by assisting his parents in the spaza shop in Mafeking. Is that correct? In
Yes.
Northwest?
Yes.
Do you want to quickly, for the purpose of those that are listening to the podcast that might not want to go to YouTube to watch the video, do you want to just, touch on some of the things that say inspire or help you to get to harness the entrepreneurship innate that was there?
For sure. So my journey started way back, very long time ago. I think after my dad got retrenched and then bought a taxi, the taxi got stolen, and then the spaza shop was the means and the source of income. And then I started working in the spaza shop at a very early age, at a very young age.
Yeah.
And then that's how I also, when I was in primary school, I used to sell as well, because I used to take stock from the spaza shop and take it to school to sell, the sweets, the snacks, and mazimba. We call it mazimba. So all of that exposed me to the world of entrepreneurship at a very young age. And then throughout my schooling, I used to sell anything I could find, even in the community. The stuff that young people would play with, the marbles, the tops, I don't know what to call it in English, but it's called a top that we used to play. And so I used to sell all of that, look at the trends, and then look at what is it that is in demand by my peers,
Yes.
and then make it really available and then sell it to them. So, and then my journey progressed through even when I went to tertiary to ensure that I follow the commerce stream so that I can harness my entrepreneurial flair and back it with some education so that I can be able to now open myself up to more opportunities within the business space without ensuring that, I have any limitation, because education then gives you the wings to be able to achieve even much more. So that is just a summary of my journey of how I got to be where I am so far.
Thank you very much. So once again, for those that are listening, go to Sam Apata YouTube channel, subscribe, and you will hear more in details about Rapelang's entrepreneurship journey. So when you were sharing your story, you mentioned something that was very critical and somewhat pivotal also. You said in 2014, there were a lot of challenges. You haven't moved from Mafeking at some point, and you were now living in Johannesburg, and you started your business. It was going okay. And in 2014, with some of the knowledge that you had and applied in your businesses, everything seemingly going well, and quote unquote, you hit a roadblock, and all you could do was go back home in 2014.
Yes.
Take us through that journey. What happened here when you moved back home? Because you later, I think after a few months, according to the story you shared, you had to come back to Johannesburg because nothing was working, in Mafeking. I want you to go into details.
Yeah, I mean, 2014 was such a defining moment and very critical year indeed, but extremely difficult. I think it was one of my worst years because I just didn't understand what was happening in my life, and I kind of like lost direction and had to bounce back. But things began to be extremely difficult because remember, I started, formally I started my business 2011, and then after 3 years I think things began to be a little bit difficult. And after having tried multiple of different things, so because sometimes when one thing is not working, you think that maybe this is not the right thing, and then let move to another thing. So after trying a couple of things, and now at the heat of entrepreneurship can bring you into a place where you feel that the heat is too much.
Tell me about it.
And you just wonder if there's a way out.
Yeah.
And I was at that point, very, very critical moment, very, very defining moment as well. And then I decided that maybe Joburg is not for me. Let me go back to Mafikeng and try opportunities there. And it was the worst decision ever. It was a nightmare going there.
What happened?
I got there, tried to start a business, and the easy one was to continue with my consulting company, which was providing services for small businesses. So, but then I realized that things are very different there. So people are not starting businesses at that rapid rate, and the culture of the environment there, people are not talking entrepreneurship in terms of innovation or what is it that they can start.
Yes.
The culture there is about tenders, RFQs. That is a language, and the economy there is not the things that makes the economy work is only stimulated through government opportunities, and there are no industries. People only work for the government
or the mines
and work for other small businesses. Mafikeng doesn't have mines really, so it's only those smaller scale miners, really not really economically that much
viable, as it were.
Yes, they don't. So now the economy there doesn't produce anything. The economy is completely dead. You're trying to start a business there, and you don't even have capital to start anything sustainable. And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what to do, but there was nothing to be done, and then you realize that it's a very different culture. Then when I really ran very low, when the chips were down, then I realized that, I can't really make a comeback in this kind of situation. I have to go back to Joburg.
And make it work.
Because at least I think in Joburg, because the economy is so vibrant, it presents so many opportunities that you are able to hustle and make the hustle work. Some areas are dead like that. For you to make it work there, it's extremely difficult. So, and then I realized that it was better for me to come back because I know how things work this side. It will be much easier. Some places, it's easy to start something there when you already have money, you can move quickly.
Sure.
Places like Mafikeng. So, but in Joburg, it presents you with an opportunity to start anything from nothing.
Yeah.
And it's easy to start and grow a business here because there are established systems and support structure, and the economy is ripe, and everything is out there for you to take advantage of and grow as an entrepreneur. So, and that really motivated the decision for me to make a comeback, and that was the best decision I could ever make. And then this is where we are today.
Interesting. I think I might be quoting the statistic wrongly, but I think they say that between either 60 or 70, or sometimes some statistics says 90% of small businesses fail in their first 3 or 5 years. Maybe you have more understanding about that particular statistic, but something around there, that the first 3 to 5 years, small businesses fail. And you formally started in 2011, and 3 years into it almost feel like this entrepreneurship journey is not for me, as you have narrated it. So, but what you did that was very inspiring is that you took time to go back home, did all of that like you said, and you came back
Yes.
And the lessons you learn from there, help you to kind of like soldier on, if I may put it like that. So that was very commendable, because that's where most young people give up. And okay, I was going to ask your age at that particular period, but I think we shouldn't go there, because it's a very pivotal moment, like you shared. And again, I'm repeating that because it is validated that that's when most people give up. And I mean, I'm an entrepreneur myself. I know how challenging it is. I mean, I can go on and on about how many times it feels like giving up. But again, like you said, here we are today. So tell me, now that we are here, you mentioned something earlier that education is very key to entrepreneurship. Either it is formal or informal entrepreneurial education. How has the informal and formal education that you received or were into during your entrepreneurship development, how has it helped you?
Yeah, I think it's very important, because we always say that entrepreneurship is an art and a science. Is an art in that there are certain natural traits that you are born with that enables you to enterprise or to be a good entrepreneur. But there are other aspects which are a science, where it's about you being able to know the numbers, you being able to know the marketing, to understand the market, you being able to follow the law, you being able to comply with the regulations that are out there, you being able to build a team, you being able to, so all of those things now, that's where the science of it is required. And the application of your knowledge, that is what is going to define success for you, because I think lack of education then makes you very limited in terms of understanding these various things, because business has a lot of moving parts, and you have to understand as many moving parts as possible. And the more you broaden your mind to knowledge and information and wisdom, the more you really increase your capacity to handle this business as it grows.
As it scales, yeah.
As it scales, you'll realize that you have to make so many decisions. Now the business is small, there's a certain level of decision making required. As the business scales, the decision-making intensity grows, and your ability to make decisions at that level will be determined by what you know and how much you know. And sometimes we don't say that education has to always be formal, and degrees and diplomas and doctorates and all of that, MBA and all of that. So, but continuous learning is very important, whether formal or informal, as long as you maintain a continuous learning. And we always talk about the successful school dropout entrepreneurs and all of that.
Yeah.
They drop out from the formal education, but the continuous learning never stops.
Yes, it's big that actually emphasize on that.
Exactly, because you can go and ask them that, did they stop education? They'll tell you no. You can't stop education as an entrepreneur, because once you stop you stop growing.
Yes.
Because the success of your business is intrinsically linked to your growth as an entrepreneur. When you are not growing, your business cannot grow. So there is a commensurate development between your business and you as an individual. And entrepreneurs that don't grow themselves do not have the capacity to grow their business. So all of these things are very important. That's why then you are able to prioritize education as well as a very important pillar as part of the success equation.
Awesome. One of the informal education or centers that you attended was the Branson Centre of Entrepreneurship. So basically, you are an alumni of Branson Centre of Entrepreneurship. So am I. What are the things how did the center itself and the resources they offered and the structure of their program help you or contribute to your business development? And some of the network that you made there, how has those contributed to your business development?
Yeah, I think we're at the point where we undermine the role of support institutions in our entrepreneurial journey, because the talk that is there now is that no, these things are not working, or
you mean your incubators and your...
Yes, incubator program, accelerator program, corporate programs that others have undermined them because, of maybe some of the abuses that are there in the system.
True.
But be that as it may, they are very important players in the creation of an environment, an ecosystem, an environment that enables the thriving for small businesses. So I think, for me, some of the critical lessons that I've learned, because I did Shanduka Black Umbrellas and I did the Branson Centre as well. So with Shanduka Black Umbrellas, what they would emphasize is, especially on the financial management, where you have to do management accounts, it becomes very foreign concept, especially when you don't have background in business. I mean, you might have studied accounting, but the whole concept of having to do management accounting each and every month, it sounds so foreign to an ordinary entrepreneur, but they would drum in some of those principles very early on and forces you to do all of that and supports you in that process. And then the Branson Centre as well, in how the certain principles that you get taught and with experts and field experts that are really practicing those space, imparting that knowledge that they have gathered for so many years and helping you not to repeat their mistakes. So it's very important in your development as an entrepreneur. And the only thing is that when you are looking for a support institution for your development, firstly, you have to look at an institution that matches your needs.
Absolutely, or that speaks to your industry.
That speaks to your industry, and also that is recruiting entrepreneurs at the level where you are. Because if you are not a startup, don't go to a startup incubator because you are not going to really get the value. So you might want to choose something maybe more industry specific. You also might want to choose something at the level
scale specific,
and also the mix of the caliber of entrepreneurs that are there, because there is also an element of interchange of knowledge and peer-to-peer learning that happens.
Yes, and the ends I mentioned earlier, sorry for cutting you, ends I mentioned earlier, the impact of the network you made at the center.
Exactly, you meet very credible entrepreneur like yourself. Here we are today. We met at that organization many years back, 8 years ago, and here we still are doing incredible things. And most of the time, and also with the programs that I get to program manage. So you find that there is a lot of synergy and collaboration, especially for those that are industry specific, that entrepreneurs, they are struggling with the same challenges. They are able to, amongst themselves, have a peer-to-peer exchange of solutioning around the stuff that they are facing. So it becomes critical to because it's a controlled environment of like-minded people, and that you are able to harness the experience of other entrepreneurs in building for where you are going. So it becomes very, very critical.
Thank you very much for sharing that. So your business started as a consulting company,
Yes.
and you have evolved into enterprise development. Take the listeners through the transition, you know.
Yes, so we started more as a consulting company that was really focusing on assisting small business with their compliance issues and all of that. So, but as
sorry for interjecting. When you say compliance issues, there are some of the listeners, you know, yes, within the region of South Africa and outside the region, that would want to know, what do you mean by compliance issues when it comes to starting or opening a business?
Yeah, so the regulatory compliance will include things like being formalized, being registered with the registrar of companies, and also being compliant with the tax man, making sure that your tax issues are in order, and also observing the industry-specific compliance that exists in your industry. Who are the regulatory bodies? Yes. Who are the regulatory authorities that oversee practice in that specific industry that you have to comply with before you are able to operate in that particular industry. So, and also some of the peripheral services with regards to maybe business profiles, business plan. So those are some of the services that we use to assist entrepreneurs with. So, but as you interact with them, then you realize a lot of gaps within some of their businesses, and then you realize that those gaps become your opportunities to fill in those spaces as well, and then gradually you evolve now into other things that are much more bigger. And also you have to grow revenue, because if you deal with entrepreneurs and you realize that you are offering service where it's one-on-one offering, you can't scale that much, because entrepreneurs, in terms of affordability, they can only pay you so much.
That's true.
So then how do you still assist entrepreneurs, but now bringing in an element of a corporate intervention, that they can intervene financially for the assistance of small businesses, so that you can increase the impact that you are making for small businesses.
And also generate more revenue.
And generate more revenue, be more sustainable.
That's true.
Create a viable business model. So that's how you evolve your business model. Still servicing the same market, but with a very complete shifted business model that's really critical. So, and that's how we've evolved over the years.
And how is that aspect of the business going, the ESD that is?
Come again?
The ESD, the enterprise development services that you're now offering, how has that scaled or impacted your business?
Yeah, I mean, it has helped us to really grow, because to operate, dealing with small businesses directly, scaling becomes a problem, and then when you bring in the corporates, you are able to then realize growth in terms of revenue, and then be able to also scale much more faster. So the ESD space, as it is a growing space, because then it is inspired from the whole BE legislation or policy that is trying to bridge the gap between, the people that have structurally benefit and those that were structurally excluded from the economy, to ensure that it leveled the playing field. So, but also it able to then stimulate an environment that allows small businesses.
Yes, entrepreneurship ecosystem development.
Entrepreneurship ecosystem development, which is very critical, because then now corporates are able to come into the party and participate financially in stimulating the growth of the entrepreneurial ecosystem, to ensure that more small businesses now are able to have those barriers to entry be lifted. Because now there's availability of funding, there's availability of support, there's availability of mentoring and coaching, resources, programs and expertise and research, and all of that, they're enabled by a policy intervention. So I think that has really been great.
Indeed, and the development of the small business ecosystem also impact on the economic development at a national level? Would you agree with me?
Exactly, because for you to stimulate the economy, you need small businesses.
A lot of small businesses.
And a lot of economies, that's where they are shifting, because they are realizing that a big business, you can only have so many of them, and the government also, you can only have up to a certain degree.
Yes.
But there is limitless opportunities to create the maximum growth of small businesses to ensure that you also increase the GDP, you also increase the products and services in the economy,
and contribute also to
contribute to the tax.
Contribute to tax and also employment
as well, because small businesses, they hire more than the government and the large corporate combined. So if you can sustain the economy using small business as a model, then you have a much more sustainable strategy for your economic growth than when you neglect them. And that's why we always, as the entrepreneurship activists, raise our voices to be heard, to say that put everything, your investment, your focus, everything into small businesses.
Yes.
Because big business, they know how to look out for themselves.
Yes.
But small business, that's where most of your solutions are going to come from. And if you want to be at developmental stage, you may want to ensure that you focus on the growth of small businesses.
On that, in your view, how is the South African government, or specifically the Department of Small Business, is faring in the development of small businesses?
According to the total entrepreneurship activities, the South African ratio is 1:18. So meaning that one out of the 18 adults are entrepreneurs. Only one out of the 18 of the adults. So that's a very, it's not a good ratio at all that characterizes the picture of where we are as a country in terms of entrepreneurship levels, because the ratio suggests that the entrepreneurship levels and entrepreneurship activities are extremely very low. Less people are becoming entrepreneurs. But look at this, that you are talking about employment. So if you can focus on, like the South African government, they spoke about the fact that they want to create, I think at some point they were talking about 5 million jobs.
According to the NDP 2030.
According to the NDP 2030, and they were talking about 5 million jobs. And then someone said that, because big business, you can't increase the number of big business, you increase the number of jobs. So it means that, and government also, you can't increase government departments or government services to increase the number of jobs.
State-owned enterprises.
Or increase the number of state-owned, you cannot. So the only space you have is with the small businesses. And someone was saying that if you can create 1 million small businesses that employ 5 people, you will easily hit the mark and hit the target. So but the job creation strategy has not necessarily been anchored on the strategy to bring small business into the play, so that you are able to absorb as many people into jobs as possible. So of which, where are those jobs going to come from? If they can't come from government, if they can't come from big business. And
you are not supporting the small businesses.
And you are not supporting the small businesses
enough,
so that they can rise and create those, where are those jobs going to come from? So that's why every time the politicians talk about job creation, the first thing that comes to my mind, that if you're talking about creating jobs, where are the jobs going to come from? Because you can't create jobs through government, except for facilitating policy. And creating an enabling environment, maybe through tax cuts and maybe through other intervention. And also you still have a big business. Big business, they are what they are. There's very little they can do in terms of expanding capacity for job creation. Your last hope is
the small businesses. And talk about, I just want us to dwell on this a little bit, because it's very relevant, considering the global pandemic. A lot of people lost their jobs, And yes, the economy is starting to pick up in South Africa. We are now at level one easing, lockdown easing rather, and we need to stimulate the economy.
Yes.
Okay. Having said that, though, the advancement of digital technology also, it's another issue that is going to impact, even before 2020, you and I, and it's been a conversation, the 4IR, the artificial intelligence and all of that, their impact on jobs.
Yes.
And COVID also has contributed badly to it. So in all of these, and again, the big businesses can't hire fast enough.
Yes.
Considering all of these issues, what is it that young individuals, someone in the township that is listening to this podcast, what do you think they need to start thinking, in what direction that they need to start looking at in order to, create something for themselves? Let's say someone is listening and he or she is still thinking about how to go and submit a CV in one company or the other, and that company is already innovating digitally, and they're already applying all this technology that is going to kind of like bring efficiency and automate most of their operations.
Yes.
It means that the chances of such individual wanting to submit a CV is 0 to none.
Yeah.
So what would you say to such individual, about starting something, and if he or she is going to start a business, how, should he or she or they go about it?
I think, as we all know that, COVID-19 has really accelerated the advent of 4IR.
Yes.
And advent of modern technology. And everything is moving there very rapidly. And there's that digital transformation that we are seeing, and it's happening rapidly. So, and it's creating, it's really phasing out certain opportunities, and phasing out certain careers, and phasing out certain businesses. And also, how do we now move our businesses online where we can? Well, maybe not all businesses can move online, but at least how do we embrace some level of technology into our business? And I always talk about digital tools to say that for everything that you need, there's a digital tool for it, in the form of an app or software or some tool in the internet.
And some of them are even free.
Most of them are for free, or trials or whatever. So it then becomes very important to see what your business is all about, what your business needs, and what are some of the tools that you can use in order to digitize your business so that you can be more competitive, because your competitors are moving fast online and into digital spaces, and they're going to provide their services much more cheaper, cost effective, much more faster, and with the greater quality and greater appeal.
Yes.
While they leverage the use of modern technology into their business, and you are going to be disrupted not by the technology itself, but by your competitors who are bringing technology into their business to give their customers a better experience than what you can give them. So it's not by choice, it's not because you want or not, but it's because
it's critical.
It's critical. If you don't do that, you will be disrupted out of the game by your competitors, who will move much more faster and take over the market and take the entire market share while you watch.
Interesting. As we round off the podcast, you mentioned something in the other video that you recorded that post-COVID is an era of the innovative.
Yes.
Did I quote you correctly?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
So I was saying post-COVID economy will be the survival of the innovative.
Okay.
So this is because as we have been disrupted and everyone is talking about the new normal.
Yes.
And what does the new normal entails? It just means that things are not going to be done the same way they used to be done before. So you cannot afford to do things the way you used to do them or the way they used to be done before, because then now you will not be in line with the demands of the new normal. So you'll not be compliant to the new normal. So this only means that you've got to think about, firstly you have to understand the change that has come.
Yes.
So that you know how to respond to it. Because every business, wherever they are, simply because their business models have been disrupted, the first thing they are trying to is to understand the change,
Yes.
that they find themselves in, so that they can understand how they need to respond to that change. Do they have to respond with technology? Do they have to respond with restructuring?
Yes.
Do they have to respond with a different strategy? Do they have to respond with the new product line? Do they have to respond through maybe introducing new things into the business?
Yes.
So that they can keep their market, they can keep their customers, they can keep their solutions being top of mind in consumers. So everyone at some level, they are disrupted, but you've got to first understand this wave of change that has hit us with a surprise. No one was expecting this to happen. No one was prepared for it. But it also shows that it also tests everyone and test all the businesses about the resilience
Yes.
of their business models and the resilience of the solutions that they provide. That are they providing solutions that really consumers want?
Yes.
and people like, or they are in effect they are producing something that will not stand the test of time. So it's really testing so many things this time. And this is the time not to panic, but to really think and come out of the comfort zone, because it's also testing if you are a real entrepreneur, and it's separating those who are pseudo-entrepreneurs and
Yes.
those who are real entrepreneurs, because a real entrepreneur understands the power of crisis.
Yes.
That it is during crisis that I'm revealed, that my entrepreneurial flair is revealed,
Because we are here to solve challenges.
Because we are here to solve challenges. We don't panic during crisis because we understand that every crisis comes with a blessing.
It's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity. And that's why most of the entrepreneurs are excited, This COVID-19 is excitable for them. Yes, we sympathize with the damage it caused and the life lost.
Yes.
May the soul rest in peace. However, we are excited by being pushed into the corner and having to figure out what we need to do.
And innovate.
And how to innovate. How do we solution for the new solutions and all of that. So it's really testing who is really an entrepreneur by people that
the expression on your face, can't.
I tell you,
can't stop laughing.
I tell exactly, because I'm really passionate about this, and for me, it has always been about how do we maximize the moment. And how do we get much out of the crisis we find ourselves in, and innovate and come up with new things, develop new solutions, and take to market something that will really be, of need to the market, because crisis comes with a lot of challenge, a lot of problems. Then it also brings new businesses, many solutions to be solved, and it calls for many entrepreneurs. And I was saying lastly that post-COVID economy will require a lot of entrepreneurs.
I couldn't agree with you more. And, second to that is, you said as an entrepreneur, you are a leader.
Yes.
And you would agree with me that the global pandemic also tested leaders, let me just put it like that, So when you said as an entrepreneur, you are a leader, what do you mean by that?
You have to realize that leadership is about something depends on you. And when you look at where we find ourselves in, your business depends on you, the customers depend on you, the suppliers depend on you. So there's a lot, your employee depend on you. And your ability to be able to meet all of these things at the point of their needs is very critical in demonstrating your leadership ability.
Interesting.
And the resilience that you need to demonstrate, and how you need to keep calm when in the midst of panic.
How to keep calm when your employees are panicking.
Exactly. And bring everyone to calm, to ensure that, because you are the captain of this ship, so you cannot be everywhere when everyone is uncertain. You've got to keep calm, because you are the person that can save everyone.
As it were.
And you are also the person that can drown everyone. So things rise and fall
on leaders.
So, and this is the time for us as entrepreneurs to take leadership and to demonstrate that we are leaders. And entrepreneurship is leadership. You are leading the society. You are leading government.
Yes.
You are leading a big business. You are leading our community. Because look at what is happening now. Everyone is looking at people who are going to come up with new ideas,
That's true.
to deal with the current crisis.
That's true.
So as entrepreneurs, the government is looking at us to come up with solutions. The society is looking at us to come up with solutions.
I mean, one of the solutions that the society is looking at us for, entrepreneurs that is solutions to the work from home.
Yes.
The tools, the technology required,
Yes.
and all of that. So I couldn't agree with you more that indeed the society and the nation at large are looking at the entrepreneurs, to be able to come up with solutions and truly demonstrate their leadership skills.
That's true.
I mean, even when because there is no certified or confirmed vaccine to COVID. The government, the international bodies, everyone is looking at the leadership of these pharmaceutical organizations to be able to come up with the innovative vaccine that is required. So again, I couldn't agree with you more on that one. Thank you very much. It's been a very engaging conversation, a very passionate one as such. So where can people connect with you? I saw you recently launched your website.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about technology. Talk about implementing digital technology. You have to launch your website so that you are able to reach the market or the audience that's pre-COVID you were not able to. So again, share your social media handles and all the contact that where people can find you and do business with you.
Of course, my central repository is my website currently. At least it has all my information and integrated platforms through which I communicate my thoughts and my ideas around entrepreneurship. So my website is rapelangmotsumi.com, And there you will find also my other platforms that are integrated into the platform. So you'll find my Facebook account, you'll find Instagram, you'll find Twitter as well. So you'll also find the YouTube channel that we have where we release the podcast and material that entrepreneurs can consume to learn more about some of the tools of entrepreneurs, how to innovate, how to start their business, how to be compliant, and many other resources that we talk about in the YouTube channel. And also it has more information about the thought leadership articles that we write as well. So we have released some of the thought leadership on the digital tools, on the entrepreneurship ecosystem, and also on innovation as well. So very incredible stuff that you can find in that website. So I direct people to the website because they are going to find all my platforms integrated and all my my contacts included into the website as well, so that they can find many ways to interact with us. So it is Rapelang Motsumi, and I suppose that you will write my name there, and then they will be able to get the spelling right, how to spell rapelangmotsumi.com, and then that's where they will find us, and we will find them too, and then we can ignite this passion of entrepreneurship together and change the world. So we are really excited.
Indeed. Thank you so much. As we're talking, there is one last question that I forgot to ask you, which I would then put it before this one you just shared. What's your view on the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement and the need for Africans to do business together?
I mean, it's very critical, because when we learn from what Europe is doing, the way it's integrated and the way there is free trade amongst the company, it creates a very strong economy for all of them collectively.
Yes.
Because they're able to harness their resourcefulness in the way they and also leverage from one currency and all of that. So I believe also Africa should look at that whole free trade,
yes,
and lessen much more of cross-border trade that has hampered ease of doing business with each other,
yes,
and travel as well. As we know that it's very difficult if you're in Africa to travel to any country you want. You have to travel out of Africa.
In some cases,
and come back. So you are going to a country, you have to go out of Africa to get to that country. So it doesn't make sense. And I think all of those things, they really need to be addressed by all those policies and all those interventions to ensure that Africa is able to come together,
yes,
and ensure that they grow an inclusive economy,
yes,
as Africans, and also rely and have self-reliance, because if you look at what Africa is doing, is relying on the rest of the world for their economies. So, but our economy as Africa is not integrated in such a way that it can sustain itself. It always has to. So it's very siloed, very fragmented, and I think things like your free trade agreement,
yes,
will address some of those issues. That how do you create the seamless trade, reduction of those barriers,
yes,
that are there to ensure that there is sustainable economy and a united economy that will ensure that business is successful, all the businesses succeed in Africa.
Thank you very much once again, Rapelang, for joining me on the podcast, and I wish you all the best in your business.
No, thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. So thank you very much for listening to the podcast. Please share it with friends and colleagues and associates, and see you in the next episode. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.